Welcome to the Digital Edge.
Great to be here.
Today we're jumping into something really fascinating, the startup world in India. Specifically, how do some startups bounce back from, those early bumps in the road to actually build something successful?
Yeah, it's a story we see often, but the how is complex. We've been looking at a study out of Bangalore.
Right. India's tech central.
Exactly. And this study really tried to pinpoint what separates the startups that, don't quite make it from the ones that find their footing and thrive, sometimes after a rough start.
It's like a playbook almost based on real experiences. They looked at tech entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Their backgrounds, products, money situations.
Finances, market interaction, the works. It gives you a real sense of the roller coaster ride it can be.
And we've got a fantastic story to anchor this. Nithin Hassan, a tech veteran, saw Bangalore changing, losing its green spaces.
And felt he had to do something, which is interesting in itself.
Totally, because even after a whole career in tech, this personal drive led him to start My Garden Emporium. It's all about sustainability, bringing nature back to cities.
It's a brilliant example of seeing a problem and thinking, okay, I can build a business to fix this. It wasn't his first field, but the passion was there.
So today we're unpacking those key things using the study and Nithin's journey that help startups push through setbacks and actually succeed. Lessons from failure and success.
Let's dig in. So that Bangalore study, one of the first things that jumped out was speed. Getting that minimum viable product, the MVP, out the door.
The MVP, the basic version. How fast are we talking?
Well, the successful ones, they typically launch their MVP within about 4 to 6 months.
Okay, 4 to 6 months, and the ones that didn't succeed?
Much slower. Some took, believe it or not, up to 30 months. Nearly 3 years just to get a basic version out.
Wow. That's a long time to wait for feedback.
Exactly. The lesson seems to be don't wait for perfect. Get something functional out there fast, test it, learn from users, iterate.
And that speed must link to money too, right? Getting revenue in.
Absolutely connected. The study found the successful startups, they started generating actual revenue within about 6 months of launching that MVP.
6 months. So quick launch, quick validation with actual paying customers.
It seems to be a really strong indicator. That early financial traction proves you're onto something people will actually pay for.
Thinking about Nithin Hassan. Okay, My Garden Emporium isn't pure tech like the study's focus, but that principle still applies, doesn't it? He'd need to show value quickly.
For sure. Even shifting industries, he would have needed to validate his idea, maybe sell some initial garden setups or services, get that early traction to know it wasn't just a nice idea.
Makes sense. What about the team? The study mentioned the founders.
Yeah, that was another interesting finding. The successful startups often had a better mix of skills in the founding team.
Like not all tech people.
Right. Maybe one person was strong technically, could build a product fast, but they were paired with someone who really understood marketing or sales or operations, that complementary skill set.
So you cover more bases early on.
Precisely. The study noted that if you had, say, a tech co-founder for rapid prototyping and another with market know-how, you got traction faster. Avoids blind spots.
Okay, here's a twist, though. The study looked at age and experience, too. What did they find there?
This was a bit counterintuitive, maybe.
Why?
The successful founders were, on average, a bit younger and actually had less prior work experience compared to founders of the startups that failed.
Younger and less experienced did better. Why would that be?
Well, the study suggested a potential link to a stronger drive for financial independence among the younger founders. Maybe also, less baggage, a greater willingness perhaps to take risks or challenge norms if you haven't been in an industry for decades. A fresh perspective.
Huh. Interesting. And mindset. Did they look at personality or decision-making styles?
They did, using the Myers-Briggs framework. And they found successful co-founders often leaned more towards the feeling side, more empathetic, adaptable, focused on values.
As opposed to
the founders of failed startups, who tended more towards intuitive, more logical, critical, perhaps more focused on the concept than the customer's immediate feeling or need.
So being adaptable and empathetic might be really key in those messy early stages, understanding customers.
It suggests that, being able to really connect with customer needs and pivot based on that feedback seems advantageous when everything is still so uncertain.
One more big piece from this study, mentorship.
Crucial. Yeah, absolutely crucial. The successful founders actively sought out mentors. They had regular contact, asked for guidance.
And the others.
Often didn't. The study mentioned some felt their existing industry knowledge was enough. They didn't need that outside advice.
Big mistake, probably.
It seems so. Having that external, objective view from someone who's navigated similar waters, it provides reality checks, opens doors, offers direction you might miss when you're deep in the weeds.
So wrapping this up, it's clear the path isn't straight. But these factors, a fast MVP, early revenue, the right team mix, maybe even being a bit younger or more adaptable, and definitely getting mentorship, they really seem to make a difference according to this Bangalore study.
They do. And Nithin Hassan's story just fits so well. He transitioned, yes, but his passion to solve a visible problem, losing green space, was the driver.
Yeah.
He built My Garden Emporium focusing on community, on impact. That's a kind of success too, beyond just the balance sheet.
Absolutely. It shows that drive, that purpose, combined with smart execution, validating the idea, staying agile, building networks like the study suggests, can lead to something meaningful and sustainable.
His journey and the study both underline that persistence and learning are key. You might stumble, but it's about getting back up with new insights.
It really makes you think, what problems are right in front of us, things we see every day? Could some of those be opportunities if we approach them with these kinds of lessons in mind?
It's a great question to ponder. Thanks for joining us on The Digital Edge. We hope this gave you some useful insights, maybe even a spark of inspiration.
And that's our exploration for today on The Digital Edge. Hope you found it valuable. Join us next time as we look at another angle of our digital world. Until then.